How's it going, everybody? On the BT. Give it a second because last night didn't start right away. But how's it going, everybody? On the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So over on the Dixie for the daily, we're still breaking away from our channel. This isn't trading today, so we'll skip over to the total. So over on our total, remember this is all of our altcoins market cap put together besides Ethereum. We are still within this consolidation range. If we break away from this consolidation range, it can bring us lower toward the bottom of the gapped area or this channel that we're within. Our stochastic does want to pull back here as that double line. As that blue breaks below that orange, we would have a bearish cross, and that could bring RSI, the red line, lower, which would bring price action lower with them. The VWAP, or yellow wave, is starting to pull back, is heading toward that neutral of the zero. If it breaks that area, we will see the blue wave momentum roll away, and that will result in the money flow, the red wave, continuing to deepen in the red, and we could see a continued sell-off from there. So I would exercise caution if we break that neutral area on the daily. Over on the 4 hour, and if we hold that on the lower time frames, we're likely going to do so. Over on the 4 hour, we could have like a big shoulder here, a head here, and then a shoulder here. I used the wrong pattern, but that would be a head and shoulder. I meant to use this one right here. You would measure from the head to your neckline, apply that from your neckline down, if I can grab the line, and that could break us down toward around that 578, providing we don't see some bullish momentum. If we do get bullish momentum at the bottom of this flag, we could invalidate it and run forward through that gapped area or the golden pocket right up here. So that could be very positive. Our RSI is starting to curl away. Stochastic is pulling back. We do have the orange above blue, and we're rounding away. So that is bringing RSI lower, which is weakening price action. That VWAP is in the bearish territory, causing momentum and money flow to pull back. So if that VWAP does not create a bullish trend on lower time frames, we're likely going to see this head and shoulders play out. Over on the 2 hour here, remember that would bring most of our altcoins lower. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to drop. We do have that orange line above blue. RSI is pulling back as a result. The VWAP is in the bearish territory, momentum is pushing down, and the money flow is breaking into the red, signaling that we could see continued bearish momentum from here. I would watch if we continue getting these lower highs with lower lows. We could form a bearish continuation. If we can create a bullish channel, that would end up bringing you down and then try to push you up. And if it meets bullish momentum at that point, it can continue you forward. Our stochastic does want to push up. RSI is gaining strength. Momentum does want to round up. VWAP is trying to gain strength, but the money flow is breaking down. So if that VWAP remains in this bearish territory, we will see momentum continue lower. What the heck? YouTube is having some problems, it looks like. Let me know in chat if you can hear me, but right now YouTube is saying it's having some problems right now and it can't maintain the video quality. So I hope you're able to see us right now. I don't really have anything that I can do right here, so it's not very helpful. So it does look like we're still streaming. I still see me on the capture, so we're going to go. Let me know in chat if you don't hear me or if something's off though. So our momentum is pulling back here on the 1 hour. VWAP does want to break away. Money flow is breaking down. So overall, I would exercise caution. If that continues, we will continue to drop away. That would weaken those higher time frames and give us the potential to break away. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are overall slipping. We have a gap forward. We really don't have an open market. Right now, it trades for about an hour, so you don't really get much good data on the weekend. This jump up is pretty much just an hourly candle, and we are pushing up. Before we started the video, there wasn't even a candle for the day. VWAP does want to push up. Momentum's gaining strength. Our money flow does want to push up. So we do look like we want to continue forward, but I would watch. You can see that gap on the daily here as well. Remember, we want to fill that lower gap first before we see any kind of push forward. Oh, sorry, we're on dominance. I thought we were, yeah. So dominance, it did say that we did not trade. Futures, we are not, we don't have any market movement here either. I can't, if you hover over dominance, hover over futures, it should say market close, but since I'm on the stream, there we go, it says market close. So we really can't get much data here. We do still have the same gap on the lower time frames on futures. We want to see that fill. We want to continue to pull back, get that fill, and prevent a break of the 57K. If we can do all that and we push forward, that would give us that strong run up that could sustain. If we don't do all that, we could get a strong run up. Still, we have the gaps above us, but it may not sustain, and we could see another crash down, which could result in further losses. So over on Bitcoin, since futures doesn't have much data for us, we are overall within our channel. Still, this triangle, we did get a bounce and a push forward like we suggested last night. Stochastic does want to run up. RSI is trying to push forward. Momentum does want to gain strength. The VWAP is trying to push forward, but it's kind of indecisive, so watch those lower time frames. Money flow does want to push up, but we're currently in the bearish territory, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 4 hour, we have 2 touches to the top, 2 to the bottom. Ideally, you could break up after that third touch to the top. I don't know what that little line there is for. We'll delete that. But typically, you would get your breakup there. If we can continue to push away from here, that could be positive. Watch our indicators. They are going to get kind of overdrawn and near that neutral as we kind of trade, consolidate, and trade in this pattern. Our stochastic does want to round. RSI is flat. The VWAP is pulling back. Momentum is rounding, and money flow is pulling back, so I would exercise caution here. Over on the 4 hour, we are overall continuing from our bounce. We have a consolidation after that bounce that could create a flag within our triangle to help push us forward and possibly invalidate the bigger bear flag we have. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is going flat, so watch the stochastic. If it breaks down, RSI will start to lose some momentum. VWAP is trying to break into the bearish territory. You can see that with the momentum rounding with a red dot. So if that VWAP continues and gets strong lows with lower highs, we will see momentum pull back and money flow could break down. That would result in those higher time frames starting to slip away. So we have been bearish for quite some time. I would exercise caution, but we are within a bullish pattern as well. So watch very close. Our stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is dropping away. Remember, you should be setting alerts for any kind of opposites and setting your take profits ahead of time. So if you think Bitcoin's going to hit 63K, you should have your sell order at 63K if that's your end trade, and you should have an alert for if we broke away from our triangle, because if we broke toward the bottom of our flag, that could invalidate our triangle and we could continue lower. But momentum does want to pull back. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is losing strength, and VWAP has lower lows with lower highs, so we have a bearish trend there. That bearish trend will continue to drop us down. It does look like connection is doing better, so don't know what was going on. Hopefully it didn't mess with you too much, but overall, we are seeing it drop lower. We are gaining bearish momentum. I would exercise caution, but these indicators will get kind of zigzaggy and real close to that neutral as we start to get closer to the peak of this triangle. That would be providing we don't break away. If we do break away, we do have 2 touches to the bottom. That could create a third touch to the bottom, or 2 touches to the top, sorry, and then that could create our third touch to the bottom. If we do see that third touch to the bottom after the 2 touches to the top, that's usually where you would see your breakdown. So if we invalidate this triangle, I would watch for further losses. Remember, that could push us down toward that 57 and then beyond that 57 for this flag, as it did have a pretty big drop down here. So that could push us right around that 53,749, just shy of the 52K, which is our neckline for our double top. That can bring us to 30K. So that's why you want to watch very close on what's going on here. But over on graph for the daily, now that we've drawn out, remember, if you want to see any other coins after ALGO on this list, let me know and we can cover them, even if it's just a one-off one day. We are starting to pull back. We did break away from our triangle. I would watch. This is a long upper shadow candle that does show bulls try to push us up, and the bears are gaining the strength to pull us back. Our stochastic is starting to round away. We have our orange above blue. RSI is starting to drop as a result. If this continues, price action will start to push toward our previous value area high, and then we could start to break lower, possibly pushing toward that 16,316. Our momentum does want to round with a red dot. Remember, that value area high is from a fixed range volume profile from this range back here, so we are retesting a previous range. And if we see that breakdown, we will break into it. So over on the 4 hour here, we are starting our breakdown. this is where you want to watch for a retest. If we do bounce toward the bottom of our channel and break in it, we could continue forward. However, if we retest our pattern by bouncing toward it and then we reject away, that's likely where you would see that pullback to the 16,316. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is weakening, VWAP is remaining bearish, causing momentum to drop, and the money flow is selling off, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a gap here above us, right around that 21,656. So if we can pull back into this pattern, there is a chance we can push up to that, and I did not fix market cipher A, so I apologize for that. Stochastic is dropping away, RSI is dropping down. We were at the pool all day, so sorry I didn't really watch the charts much. VWAP is starting to pull back, and momentum is dropping away. So overall, the 2 hour does look a bit more bearish. If this bearish momentum continues, we could end up breaking down and pushing lower. Our stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping away, momentum is in the bearish territory, the VWAP is starting to reject the neutral, so I would watch. If that VWAP does reject the neutral, we will have a lower low here, followed by that lower high. That will give us a bearish momentum to bring momentum lower, causing money flow to continue to deepen in the bearish territory, weakening those higher time frames and causing a bigger breakdown. If we do see that bigger breakdown, just remember, we do have the gap above us that we could end up filling right around that 22,146 here on the 1 hour, but we also have that one right around the 21,526. So we have two above us, and they do have an 80% likelihood to fill. So if we drop, it's not the end of the world. So over on Ankr for the daily, we do have the same 50-50 pattern. I don't know where my poles went, so we'll redraw them. So you would draw halfway. That will give you your break up, and then since this is coming from a breakdown for the symmetrical triangle, we do have this breakdown channel here. You would apply this to the bottom, and that gives you that bigger breakdown. If it was just a symmetrical triangle from consolidation, then you wouldn't have the full breakdown, or if it's one from a run up, this bigger pull would be on the top. So stochastic does want to round. That could break us to 2020, bad year. VWAP does want to break down, momentum is rounding away with red dot, and money flow is pulling back. So overall, the 4 hour or the daily is not looking positive. On the 4 hour, we did retest our channel and we got a rejection. That's why I said to watch for on graph. This means we could continue lower, push to our 2883, and potentially see our breakdown. Remember, we may not get the full breakdown, but we could start testing these other support levels. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping away, VWAP is favoring bearish. We do have a higher low, but we have lower highs as well, so I would watch VWAP closely. If it's bearish on the lower time frames, the 4 hour will continue to pull back. Momentum is dropping away, and money flow is pulling back, so overall, we are not too positive there. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we created a gap when we broke away. We did bounce up to fill that gap, rejected our channel, and broke away. You will say we do have this gap above us, so if we do continue lower, we do have that bullish gap above us that could end up filling. That is right around that 30.57. Then we have another one if we can meet support there at our 31.31. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is attempting to break toward the bearish territory. It's very indecisive. Momentum has a double green dot suggesting it's attempting to run forward. But if we don't get a strong high, we will see momentum remain bearish. Money flow will continue to pull back, and those higher time frames will lose strength, potentially breaking down even lower. Remember, we could push to 2020. Stochastic is running up. RSI does want to push forward. VWAP is trying to break that neutral. Momentum does want to gain strength, and money flow is weakening due to that momentum favoring bearish and VWAP not really getting very strong highs. If that VWAP continues to get weak highs, we will continue to slide here, potentially leaving all these gaps to fill later. We have another one just below our channel, so we do have several gaps above us here on Ankr. Ankr, I've noticed, if you love to trade on gaps, it does gap more than other coins, at least the coins that we typically cover. So over on XRP, we did try to get our break up. We didn't manage to break through those. Stochastic is dropping down. RSI is pulling back. VWAP does want to round away. Momentum is bearish. We have a green dot as VWAP wants to break up, but we are struggling, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 4 hour here, stochastic is dropping down. RSI is pulling back. Momentum does have lower highs as we are getting relative consistent highs, so I would watch. That could create bearish divergence to end up breaking us lower. Money flow is pulling back as that VWAP has lower highs and consistent lows. If this continues, we will see a continued slide here, potentially rejecting our bullish scenario. Remember, this was our third touch to the top, and usually that's where you want to break up, so that's not too good. It could mean we would retest our 45 area, and if we don't meet support at 45 cents, we do have that support at 35, so I would exercise caution. The 2 hour is starting to pull back with stochastic and RSI. VWAP is breaking bearish, pushing momentum lower, and money flow is starting to break down, so the 2 hour is starting to become more bearish. I would exercise caution. That will start to weaken those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, RSI and stochastic are dropping away. VWAP has lower lows. It does have lower highs as well, pushing momentum down with that bearish trend, and money flow is on the edge of breaking into the red. If that money flow does flip from green to red, we will have a bearish trend reversal, and that could start to break those higher time frames lower. Finally, since there were no requests tonight, I appreciate every single one of you watching. We do have ALGO, so we are overall starting to round away. We're in some sort of a consolidation range, so I would exercise caution. This could be a bear flag as well, providing total does not get momentum to the upside. Actually, it is slightly rising, so we could call this a rising channel. That's not good because a rising channel, if you watch the Mastering the Trade playlist, does end up breaking you down. So we could end up retesting about 12.5 cents. Stochastic does want to round. We have orange above blue, so I would watch. RSI does want to pull back, so if stochastic breaks down, RSI will follow, bringing price action lower. VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum does want to round, and the money flow is in the bearish territory, so I would exercise caution and watch those lower time frames pretty close. Over on the 4 hour, we have technically 2 touches to the top with that wick, 1 touch to the bottom, maybe 2 if you want to count that one. So I would watch. If we make a bounce off that support, we could continue forward. But if we do end up breaking at that support, watch for the retest. And if we get bearish continuation on that retest, that's what will bring us lower, potentially pushing us down toward the 1032, our all-time lows, if we do not meet support there. RSI is pulling back, stochastic's dropping down. The VWAP does have consistent lows with slightly lower highs, so we do have a bearish trend bringing momentum lower and causing money flow to sell off. So overall, we do have more selling pressure than buying pressure, much like everything else, so watch total and the lower time frames. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is dropping down, RSI is pulling back, VWAP was very weak and it broke down, causing momentum to snap down, and money flow wants to break into the red. If that money flow gets that trend reversal, we could see a strong trend downwards, as we don't have very much bullish momentum on those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, last but not least, stochastic is dropping down, RSI is starting to push down, the VWAP does want to break over that neutral. Watch if we can get a strong run up. If we get a strong wave, we could invalidate our channel. However, if we get a low high and it rounds away very quickly, we likely would see bearish pressure to give us that 12.5 retest, possibly lower if we don't continue with bullish momentum at that point. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.